AI in Cybersecurity by IBM. Let's check it out.
Right now, there are hundreds of thousands of jobs open in the cybersecurity space, and we can't fill those positions fast enough, and we can't make experts fast enough to fill them either. So what are we going to do? With the people we have, we're going to have to use force multipliers in order to be more effective and meet the need. And two of the things that we can do for force multipliers.
This is really good news for you if you want to get into cybersecurity. There are not enough qualified people for the jobs that we currently have, so we're going to have to do all of these other things that he's about to talk about to make up for the lack in supply. Now is a phenomenal time. You are not too late. You are not too old to get started. Get started, get moving. You can get the skills, get in to the career, and then you can be a part of these force multipliers that he's about to talk about.
Is we can use automation. That allows us to work more efficiently, or we can use artificial intelligence that allows us to work more intelligently.
Automation, absolutely. Automation doesn't replace jobs that you would want to work anyway. So don't be afraid that automation, we're going to automate out jobs. That's really not the case. Automation is used to make your job more efficient and more effective, and to weed out bullshit, basically, that you wouldn't want to do anyway. So for instance, your SIM may generate 1,000 alerts a day, and 99% of those are going to be false positive. 99.9%, 999%, hopefully, are going to be false positives. Automation can help figure out which ones are BS, we don't even need to work on, we don't even need to look at, and then which ones can we spend our time with. You don't want to be spending your day looking at garbage. So automation is not replacing these jobs that require a high level of skill, a high level of knowledge. Automation cannot replace skilled workers.
Specifically focused,
at least not yet,
on this one in the video today.
AI might be another beast.
How we can use AI to investigate a problem, to identify an issue, to report on a particular problem, and ultimately to research and find out more about a particular problem.
Again, most of what I said applies for AI in terms of it's not really replacing people, it's just making our jobs more efficient and more effective. So this investigate, identify, report, and research are going to be phases that you would do in a SOC analyst role, where you're getting alerts. You need to investigate what happened. Identify, is this a true positive, a false positive? These events occurred, but is it known good behavior, or is it unknown malicious behavior? You're going to create a report on that, obviously. Send it on upwards, to level 2, level 3. Say, here's what I found, here are the recommendations that I think would fix the problem. And that obviously may involve some researching. You're going to run into things you don't know about. You're going to have to research. AI potentially will help you speed up the process, but here's what I found. Here's what I found. AI is not great at this yet. So our tools currently use, what I use in enterprise today, currently tries to leverage AI, and it will automate some of these investigations, and it's not always right. It's not always right. So I have to go back in oftentimes, okay, what was automatically investigated and closed, where there are some other indicators there. I have to reopen these alerts and reinvestigate. And there are times where I find things that the AI investigation does not find that need to be escalated up. Even in the sense where it's not necessarily like a breach. It's not necessarily we have been compromised, but it's, we are getting attacked. We're getting hammered in this particular way. Our users are, let's say, getting these phishing emails, and AI automation doesn't remediate it in the sense of prevent it from happening in the future. They close it out saying, oh, it was blocked. The user didn't click the link. The user didn't input their credentials. The user is not compromised, so it's fine. Well, it was still a phishing email. We should still be blocking the sender. We should be looking at that IP address. Should we block that IP? Are there other ways to prevent this email from happening? Is there content within the email that we can also block? Are there files and attachments that we can get the hash of to block? And AI, as of right now, from what I have seen, does not do a good job of this. So don't worry about, in 2024, is AI going to be replacing cybersecurity analysts? No, it's nowhere up to the level of what we need to be replacing us. Yes, it can help us speed up the process so that I can be more effective at my job and get more work done, but by no means is that going to be replacing the hundreds of thousands of open positions that are currently available.
Well, let's start with this first one, investigating. How could we use AI to investigate a particular issue if we become aware that there might be an issue? Well, we can use a construct called a knowledge graph, which is a way of representing information about the physical or logical world, but representing it as a data structure. And the way this works is, to give you an example, let's say we have a domain, and this would be like the name of a web domain, and that domain then resolves to a particular IP address. Also, so this is what we normally have with a website. Now, what else do we have? Well, we might also have a URL. That's the actual link that you're going to type into your browser. And that is going to link to a particular file on the file system. Now, let's take, for instance, if that file on the file system ends up pointing, because we know through an AV signature, an antivirus signature, what if this points to malware? Then this is some information that we can now connect together. Then if we say that this URL is in fact contained by that domain, and then I add a user out here, unsuspecting, who connects then to this IP address, then all of a sudden I have a path that goes all the way through from this user to this malware. And now I have this data structure that has represented, in fact, the connection that occurred. I now know this user has been infected by this malware, and here's the path it took to get there.
I'm really interested to see how AI is playing a role in any of this. We've had this technology for a long time. When you go to investigate what's going on, this is already fairly clear in the logs that you should see. Your SIM solution should, if optimized, show you the attack path, the attack story, by getting all of these logs and putting them in a nice chronological order for you. Where instead of, okay, here's something bad happened, here's 50,000 logs that you have to dig through. If your SIM is unoptimized, that might be what you have to do. But our tools have been doing this for a long time. It's not, maybe AI will make it better, but it's already fairly decent.
And in fact, if this knowledge graph is good enough, I'll be able to look and see what other users might also be affected, and what other malware, and what other sites. So this is a way of representing information, and then we can do some reasoning over that in order to do inference. Now, this is how an AI system might do this internally. Now, so that's one way we could do investigation. How about to identify in more detail a particular problem? So systems will typically write out lots of log records. Once an event occurs on a system, then we cut a log record. We put out information about, here's the time, the date, here's who did it, here's what they did, here's the system they did it to, here's where they did it from. Those kinds of bits of information would be contained in these log records. And we have loads and loads of these. So it's very difficult to sort through all of that and find where are the anomalous activities.
So this part is true. This is what takes technical skill, is you have hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of log records. So think of a company that has 10,000 endpoints, 10,000 computers. That company is not a Fortune 500 company, right? They're not even a Fortune 1000 company. Many companies have 10,000 computers. Each of those are sending logs. All of their network devices are sending logs. We've got servers sending logs, cloud infrastructure sending logs. There's so many logs, like they're going to be coming out your ears. Your ability to quickly and efficiently sort through them and find information is a hyper-technical skill that you can absolutely learn. Go to Splunk, get some training. There are tons of sites where you can get Splunk or SIM training to learn to do this skill. But absolutely, if AI can make this easier, Why not? Why not? That would be great. That would just help us out.
Where are the outliers? Well, in particular, what we'll find is in this case, let's go with an example and say, here is a record where a privileged user logged into the system and created a new account. Then, almost immediately afterward, in almost no time, they copied all the contents of a database. And then, almost directly, immediately, they deleted the account. Now, each one of these activities independently wouldn't represent necessarily a problem, but if you do all of these within a very short period of time, then we could use a time decay function and something like machine learning, which is essentially pattern matching on steroids, to look at all of these things and look at multiple factors across multiple records and realize we have an outlier. We have an anomaly. We have what may be an attack scenario.
So this is kind of interesting because this has been around for a while in the sense of our alerts are just based on logic. If A, B, and C occur, generate an alert for a SOC analyst to investigate. That's the job, right? Your SIM gets all of the logs and it's currently parsing through them, and if it sees certain events, it's like, hey, you told me to notify you when this happens, boom, here you go. That causes alert fatigue because SIMs, in general, the logic that we are creating is static, and it's very difficult to make it perfect in the sense of weeding out false positives and only getting true positives. So what he's talking about is adding machine learning to this, which is the bedrock of artificial intelligence, to where we can optimize these searches to be more and more accurate, where we can feed these systems, hey, here's all the times these alerts have triggered, here's all the times that it has been a false positive, nonsense alert that we actually don't need, and here are the times where it's been a true positive, find more of these, stop telling us about these.
Where an insider has taken advantage of the system. So that's another use of AI and machine learning in particular in order to diagnose a problem. What else could we do? Well, we could report. There's a requirement in security circles that you report against, are you complying with regulatory requirements or not? And some of the things that we might do in those cases is gather the log records and process those. We might also use information that we've gained here to enrich our reporting data. So that's another example. We're enriching the reports with the information we have from the AI system. And that's also allowing us to report with spending less time. And then finally, to do research. Imagine I'm investigating, I'm identifying, I'm doing all these kinds of things. And what I'd like to be able to do is find out what is this bit of malware? And I'd like to know more about it. I want to know more about any of these systems. So it would be nice if I had a natural language processing system, a chatbot, that I could go and talk to and ask it questions, and it has a knowledge base that it draws on.
So right now, typically what we do, we find a piece of malware. Our antivirus says, hey, this thing is bad, but we haven't seen it before. Imagine, like, you've seen the most common big name ones, you know what the worst ones are, but oftentimes there are so many out there, you're not going to memorize every single one by any means. You're going to go to Google and you're going to be like, hey, what is mimikatz.exe? Right, this is one of the big ones that you'll probably learn about right away. What is Mimikatz? And you'll have to Google it, and you'll search, and you'll go to different websites, and it's really time consuming, and you can't always be certain of what websites say. Information is, right, it's the internet. Not everything, shocker, not everything is always reliable on there. So yes, if we could get an AI system, a database where we can do our research more quickly and find more accurate information and just pertinent information, oh my gosh, that would be a game changer. That would be so awesome.
So in fact, we're going to see more and more of this kind of capability going forward, where a chatbot becomes essentially another member of the staff to answer questions.
Honestly, combining this type of research on malware into automation is where it's going to be at. So one of the things I personally worked on is when an alert triggers, I want that information within the alert itself. Don't make me go to a third-party resource to get this information. Put it in the alert itself so I can just, boom, I can see reports from these various locations that have detailed information on it already. Now, if I want to get more, it's going to include those links already in there, so I can click there and do more research. But having the highlights of it, that's a project I'm currently working on, and it's hopefully AI just makes it better, because chatbots in general are faster. In my personal experience, when I use a chatbot, an AI bot, Bard, Gemini, whatever, ChatGPT, to get information, it's way faster than Googling, going to different websites, comparing information on different websites. But then it comes to the point of, is my AI hallucinating? Can I trust it? It's a single point of reference. So we're really going to want to ensure that this repository of information is correct, accurate, up to date, not hallucinating on us, not just generating false information because it doesn't have an answer. Going to be a work in progress. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. 2024 is not going to be AI takes over. These are tools to assist analysts, tools to assist us security experts in doing our job more effectively, efficiently. But it even what he's talking about cannot replace an analyst
as we're trying to do investigations. So you can see now AI can help us a lot in the cybersecurity space. And that's in fact why IBM, 100% of our security software products include AI. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting,
IBM, they're one of the top players in the cyber industry. They have their own internal SOC. They have a lot of security software. They know what they're doing. They have a lot of experience in the industry. And for one, I'm glad, right? Our enemies, our threat actors, are leveraging AI. We also need to do it. Despite all the concerns that we have, legitimate concerns that we have on the dangers of AI, we need to be leveraging the same tools and technologies that these bad guys are, so we can stay on par with them. So big shout out to IBM. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one.